start to the second half of the year saw a continuation of the long hot days and lack of rain. Quite a few casualties regularly appeared and a few completely failed. The only thing that seemed to be grown without any issue was the weeds. Stress in plants causes them to try and reproduce quickly, and in most cases this means throwing up seed heads or bolting. This was common with a lot of the plants in the beds, but we still managed to carry on and produce a few decent crops. This has got a mixture of the Crimson Crush, the Cosmos, and there's some Dahlias in there as well. Crimson Crush have just gone haywire. It's hard to take side shoots out of these because they put like main stems out rather than little twiggy side shoots. So I've got to a stage now where I'm just leaving them and everyone's throwing flower heads up, so hopefully we're going to get a very good crop of this, and I'm sure that'll be okay. And the last thing in the bed there is the sweet corn. This is the incredible F1. For the first few weeks I was actually ripping the stems off at the bottom, but now I'm going to let them come into flower and fruit, and the tassels are starting to form at the top. The third bed, which is the onions, in this first part here we've got the mixture of the long red Florence, and I think there's a row of the Zebrune banana shallots, and across the other side here we've got the traditional leeks, the musselburys. And just down to this side, you notice the colours different in the foliage. These are the blanch leeks, although I've yet to actually blanch them, put the collars on. The last bed on the onion section is these. This is a mixture of the Robinson's Mammoth and also the Kelsey onions, which is the ones, the seed they had off Pete Edwards. And considering these have been grown without any light or anything like that, I'm fairly happy with these. I can definitely see them bulbing up now. Moving into the allotment greenhouse, got cucumbers galore. I've had, I don't know how many cucumbers off here, and there's still loads and loads. First fruit tree we got is the Xmas russet, and that's absolutely loaded with fruit. I did give this a good pruning at the beginning of the season, and it seems to have done it good. This is probably my favourite apple actually, and none of these will go to waste. The pear tree has done very well this year. We lost very few in the June drop, so hopefully all that will come to maturity. This is a Williams, the pear is, and quite nice flavour, although I must say that Conference is my best favourite of all. This is the remains of the asparagus that we didn't pick. I've just let these ferns grow and I'll let them die off, and they'll be putting more strength back into the plant ready for next year. It seems that I was maybe a little overly enthusiastic when I planted out the Crimson Crush tomatoes. I'd overplanted by adding Cosmos and Dahlias. The rate at which the plants were growing posed the risk of them swamping each other out, so I had a tough decision to make. I'll try and lift them out with the root ball so I can maybe see if they'll transplant somewhere else, but I think I've got to thin them out. Taking a closer look now, you can really see how congested this bed is going on. So I really have made a mistake with this. I think next year the Dahlias and the Cosmos will probably be on the bed on their own, although they do look nice intermingled with the tomatoes. They do pay a price, and that's restricted airflow, and that's my concern at the moment. There have been a couple of casualties where the arms have broke off. Trying to hold that up, put it in the ground, put a stake in, tie some string round, watering. You need as many arms as an octopus, but I think that'll be alright. This beetroot that I'm lifting now is called bolt hardy, and believe it or not, it did bolt. I've chopped the tops down, hopefully it saved them, and not too woody. But it's the first batch of beetroot for this year. Another job I failed to do the last 2 years was to remove these plastic protection collars off the parsnips. The result was the parsnips grew into the collar and it was a bit of a game to get off. I ended up sawing off the top of the parsnip. You know, it never ceases to amaze me. I'll come in the greenhouse at least once a day to water these, sometimes it's twice, and obviously you see the stuff growing and you've got the cucumbers here, but how on earth did I miss this here? Can't believe I've not seen that before. Just got the first cabbage ready to pick. It probably could do with another week or so, but we've got some need for the veg, so I'm going to pick this one. I've got plenty of others, about another, I think it's about another 12 cabbage altogether, 2 different varieties. Anyway, I'm going to take this one. Pull a few of these off. Not a bad specimen, is it? I'm about to unveil the second bucket of first early potatoes. I've still got another 6 to go beside these as well. I don't know if it's as much as we had from the first one, but still a decent crop. When I get them to the kitchen, I'll put them on the scales for you. Looking at the weather for July, the minimum night temperatures were slightly above average, but we did have a few nights that were lower, and I think this may have been due to the hot daytime temperatures, and therefore we didn't have any cloud base. Moving on to the maximum temperatures, not surprisingly we had another month of extremely hot days. This prolonged spell was showing effect all over the country, and there was some measures being put into place to introduce hosepipe bans. Finally, looking at the rain for July, we saw almost another dry month except for a brief shower just past halfway. However, a few thunderstorms gave us some most welcome rain as we approached the month end. The total rainfall for July was 26 millimetres. This bed here has got a mixture of Ailsa Craig and a few Robinson's Mammoth. And in general, most of them have gone over now, so it's a good indicator that they can be lifted, ready for drying. Just the other side of the plank there, those there are the Kelsey ones, the ones that seed out of Pete Edwards. And I'm just starting to get now, but I think I'll give them another week or so, just to give them that last bit of chance to fatten up a bit more. This is a mixture of Ailsa Craig and Robinson's Mammoth. Just make a quick note there about the drying trays I use. This is just a normal plastic baker's tray with a delivered bread in. And I've got some line pins into the ground. And the trays I'm just suspended on there and getting in the air. Thread the onions through. Just make sure they're not touching. And the air can get to them. bit of a change from the usual Charlottes that I grow for Christmas, and this time we're going for international kidney, or Jersey rolls, some people call them. Picked these up at the end of the potato planting season, and as you can see I picked them for 25p a bag. When I did get them, I put them in the plastic salad tray of the fridge just to keep them cool and dormant, and these have been out probably 2 or 3 days just to wake them up. So I'll be potting these on using the soil so we got from yesterday in a variety of containers. We've had at least 24 hours of good continuous rain which has soaked the ground thoroughly. Just caught this one in time as it's about to blow, but we'll get a meal out of it. Early Saturday morning it was threatening, and so I managed to get the calcium onions lifted. That's one. Out of 32, probably got about 26, which is reasonably good. And I only lost one to white rot, which is brilliant, I thought, considering the weather we've had. Long red Florence, can highly recommend them. Grown exactly the same as the Zebrune shallots. These do store extremely well, and I'll be looking to keep these at least into March next year. That's if they're not all been eaten by then. So the first lot of onions, I've double stacked the trays, as you can see there. They fit on each other nicely. Going back to the long red Florence, there's some in this potting tray, and there's another. Well, the rest of them are on top of this one there. Going out. And just below it there, I've got another tray there, and those are the calcium onions, if you can see behind. It's dark in there, but there's plenty of airflow, and I think they'll be okay in there. I've just picked my first sweet corn, and these are the variety called Incredible. First time I've ever grown this, but I think it's on the list for next year. This is the second box here. I've counted 46 altogether in these two. I've given 6 away, and there's still probably about 20 left on the plant to mature, so I'll leave them for another 2 or 3 weeks. Taking a look at the weather for the month of August, starting with the nightly minimums, it's a mixed selection again, with a few fairly cold nights, which, like July, is probably due to the clear skies during the daytime. Towards the end of the month we dropped to only 6 degrees, which is quite cold for this time of the year. The maximum daily temperatures in general managed to rise above the monthly averages. However, there's a noticeable drop-off as we approach the autumn period. Finally, it appears that with the lowering of the temperatures, we were treated to a few days of decent rainfall. This was spread throughout the month, which allowed time for the soil to absorb it well. Total rainfall for the month was 52 millimetres. August also sees the staging of the annual Shrewsbury Flower Show, this being the 131st. It was a great day out for all the family, with not only floral displays, but lots of other entertainment, all leading up to the grand finale of the mass bands performing with a spectacular fireworks backdrop. I'll put a link at the bottom showing the full show coverage below if you haven't already seen it yet. Towards the end of August, I was away from the plot for 4 weeks, so now we need to fast forward towards mid-September. This here, remember, was my salad bed, which I revamped towards the end. These are actual radishes, I'm not sure, some decent sized ones there. I put those in just before I left, and seemed to have hit them right on the button. These are the dahlias which I potted on after I moved them. You might recall they was originally in the bed with the crimson crush, but they got overcrowded, so I potted them on into pots, and they've come up with the goods by the look of it. There's a bit more cosmos and all, which was also shifted at the same time. These here are the celery. Looking in there, them starting to thicken up now, so hopefully we'll get a decent crop out of that. They've just, well, result is fantastic off these. I just love these tomatoes, love the flavour. Each plant I've had loads and loads of fruits off. As you can see, still red stuff, no sign of any blight on here at all. I do intend on doing a trial on these next year, although I am saying they are my #1 tomato, and I'll be putting up against another allegedly blight resistant variety called Mountain Magic. With the onset of autumn, the overnight averages are slowly declining. However, the actual nightly temperatures were more like a roller coaster. Towards the end of the month, a couple of nights were hovering only just above freezing. Looking at the maximum daily temperatures, they appear a little more stable, more or less following the predicted average line, with just the odd few blips showing as the month progressed. As expected, more rainfall was evident throughout the month, with sporadic showers on a more regular basis. The heaviest rain occurred on the 20th, where 18mm fell. The total rainfall for September was 32mm. This was the bonus for me when I got back. The cauliflower, there's the Clapton ones, and there's no sign of any hearts at all. But these have come up with the goods again. One or two just starting to go over. They've got a bit of purple showing on the curd, like that one there, but about to salvage quite a few and get them into the freezer, what we can't eat straight away. The rain's starting to come around now, so I'm going to move into the greenhouse quickly. But looking here, these pots here, these are the potatoes. I think these are international kidney, what I put in for the Christmas harvest, and them look as though they're doing quite well. Inside the greenhouse here, you can see that. I don't know if you can see my hand against that cucumber. That's quite a big one, and another one here. One thing I want to show you, and it was a bit of a shock to me, was this capsicum, the pepper, and here it is. Here's my hand here. That's probably the biggest pepper I've ever grown. I don't know what it is, but thinking huge. The final curtain call of the annual garden show for me was a visit to MALVERN Autumn Show, which as a bonus featured the National Giant Vegetable Championship. While I was there, I managed to catch up with a number of other YouTube gardeners. Again, I will leave a link below to anybody who hasn't seen my coverage of the show. It was also during September that I learned of the sad news that Mick Pulteney and the group with learning difficulties, known as the Green Team, would be parting company. A number of issues had arisen which prevented them from continuing further at his allotment site.